What is happening, guys? Welcome to the first ever season 2021 stream. How's it going, chat? How's everyone doing? It feels so good to be back. Can't believe we're here. We finally made it. Finally made it. All the way from lockdown. It's been a while. How is everyone? I can't wait to get started. I didn't stream when the game opened up. There was loads of streams out and loads of people doing it, but I just can't do it. You know me, guys, fixtures over everything else. So the fixtures got released, so I thought it would be time to stream. Today I'm basically just going to take a look at every single fixture, find out who I like. I've got a bit of a watch list that we can go through, and we're going to build a team. I can also show you the intro. Always. Thank you so much, Liam. I appreciate it. 9 months. We've had a baby. Me and you, Liam. Me and you. We've had a baby. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Like, oh my God. Guys. Oh, thank you so much. I meant to press this button. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, so I've also got a bit of a watch list I'm going to be looking at and trying to get teams in, and then on top of that we can just ask questions, and I'll also be showing you my very early draft, so that'll be fun. How are you guys tinkering going? How is everyone doing? What have you been up to? What the fuck have you guys been? Where have you been? What have you been doing? I have been very busy this last week. I think I've been through about 20 iterations of my team so far. That's not good. That's too many, no? That's too many. From 5-4-1 all the way through to 4-3-3. Yeah, I haven't really been paying too much attention to the hype or the players or anything. I've been kind of trying to stay away from it. Hopefully that helps, but we'll see. What's happening, Tips? Appreciate you joining us, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm gonna leave the Twitter stuff a little bit less this year. I'm too busy, you know, planning Hannah's other things and doing other stuff, and I've got no time to also be over-analyzing everything on Twitter and watching modes and blah blah blah. Because last season I feel like my head was exploding with information, so this year we're keeping it simple. I'm going to do my own research, I'm going to do my own tinkering, and then I'll let you guys know what I'm up to. Because I want you back to basics, basically. That's what we're doing. We're going back to basics. So yeah, are you guys ready? We'll see the team. We'll see the team that I've built. Let me get it up. Let me get it up. Oh yeah, we should say hi to James. What button is it? Button 2. Oh, we've missed everything. Nope. This one. Nope. This one. He's gone. James, how's it going, mate? James. For anyone who's new here, this is James. He's my co-host. He is here every single week without fail, and he's always got a smile on his face. Pretty shy, pretty quiet. This is gonna be so weird if you guys don't know who James is and that you think he's not a real person. That'd be so fun. But he's actually got this like picture that he talks to. It's weird. But yeah, no, James will be chiming in with a few tidbits of knowledge and stuff, and talking about veganism or whatever the hell he talks about. That'll be great. So yeah, we'll be speaking to James. I know, he's like a dummy. He's like a little muppet. He's like Elmo. Shout Flapjack. Alright, let's look at this bloody team. Let's look at this team. I'm going to put my Twitch on now just to make sure I can see what's going down. Perfect. Let's do it. And I realized, by the way, that we've got a final going on. So I didn't realize the final was at 8 PM when I picked the time. And there's no point in stopping it now because, I mean, we're just streaming tinkering. It's not really a big thing. No more Murray punts, please. Yes, exactly. I actually have been doing a lot, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, I wrote a list of rules down I'm going to be following this season. It's 1-0 already. Did Lukaku score it? I bet he did. That's funny. But yeah, I'm not here for the football. We're here for the fantasy football. That's what it is. All right, let's look at the team. Bam, I remember the buttons. All right, so first up, you'll notice that there is a lot of players in there that everyone has, and that's pretty much how it's gonna go for a little bit. Last season, I had so many punts and fun things, and yes, it was fun for the stream and everyone was having a laugh at me for Murray, and then when it didn't work out, you guys were all laughing, saying you told me so, but guess who wasn't fucking laughing? I wasn't laughing. I was hating it. Hating it. So this season I've decided to build a team that I can kind of get behind, that's got enough price points that I'm able to swap to anyone I want. Game week 1 you will have one terrible player. Yes, so that's the thing. So we're going to have to talk about the blanks and stuff as well. And what we're doing with Manchester United, Manchester City players and all that good stuff. So what I was thinking was we will build a team together, me and you and me, as a unit, as one, and James, where the fuck he is, down there. And we'll do that for maybe 2 game weeks, and then look into wildcard. So we'll look to see what the best team we can come up with for game weeks 1 to 2, and then we can see what the best team we can come up with when we include our Manchester United, Manchester City players in our team as well, because I feel like that's worth mentioning, because you know they're a pretty good team I hear, so we'll fucking do that as well. So let's just go over the team. St. Maximum, if only there was an insightful thread from today that looked at him. Yeah, but you picked an English player, I'm sure, Tips. There was something else going on in that thread. Something happened there. St. Maximum versus some English guy I'd never heard of, that had quite a similar name to the Celtic star Stuart Armstrong. Well, we'll see. Double Arsenal fence only ends one way. Oh, right, here we go. Same Dave, definitely going to go for my gut feelings this year. No. We're going to be good, guys. So let's go through the team real quickly. I should probably put it on this team so you guys can see what's happening. So the first couple of players that I picked, I want a core team. So we always talk about this core team and how we have these players to the end of days, to the end of time, to the Titanic goes down. These are the players that are going to be on our team, and barring transfers to other teams or barring injuries, suspensions, whatever, like they're stuck with us, and that's what we kind of hope. So the Salahs, the Alexander-Arnolds, the Kanes, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm going to be doing with this team, what my goal was, is to have price points, just like FF Scout Joe has been talking about. If you guys have watched the podcast with him and Andy was host, and Joe was walking us through his price point tactic, where he has you know, the most expensive, and then like, you know, pretty expensive, and then kind of okay, like middle of the road, and then cheap. And that he kind of does that throughout his team in every position, so that he can reach any player he wants. So his team is uber flexible for game week 1. That's what I'm going for here. So, and you can see it in everywhere, every position, right? So we've got Kane, Ings, and then cheapy, we've got Alexander-Arnold, most expensive defender, and then Tierney, which kind of allows me to reach Doherty if I wanted to. He's only 0.5 away. If I wanted to go for Chilwell or something, so he gets his transfer, etc., I can reach them. And Tierney has the best 2 fixtures to start off with, so that's why he's in there. And I also am biased, and I know we're not supposed to be biased, but he did actually look really good, and I didn't get him until he looked really, really good. And I had him for the last game week of last season, so I'm pretty happy with that. Justin, the classic, let's hope to hell he starts. And then Saliba, the exact same thing. Again, new season, new butchering every single name. So that's going to be fun, learning the names. Once again, I can't pronounce anything, so please don't mention it. Just don't mention it. I can't, right? William, we'll call him. So William's sitting in there. Obviously, I'm going to caveat this with 4.5s can go and come. Like, they're just there to be our 4th man or whatever. Moving on, Salah, of course. Aubameyang is kind of course. He's also there as another goal, 1 each. Justin should play the first 4 matches, so yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping for that. Mui. Well, Mui's probably not going to be big in their team, so I don't need to worry about him anymore. Oh, it sounds like a good final. Holy shit. I'm missing it for this piece of shit. Oh, am I joking? So Aubameyang is in the team as he is in for everyone's team as either he does really well the first 2 game weeks, we'll consider keeping him. If he doesn't do well, then he's getting straight out of the team for Bruno or Kevin De Bruyne, and that's kind of how it goes. St. Maximin there for the kind of cheap 11th man in the team. He can go for Armstrong. He can go for any of the other kind of 6 million-ish, 5 million-ish things, Suchek, blah, 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 blah. How much is Moy? He's too much. He's too much. He's too much dignity. Costs too much pride. I'm sorry. Greenwood is in there as our kind of middle-of-the-road cost player. 7.5 is pretty decent for Greenwood. If he starts, that's caveated with Sancho and all that stuff. It also means I'm going to have one of my either Douglas, Stevens in the team. Again, Davis doesn't start in the first game week, so he'll probably go. I won't have him in there, but he was just another price point check. But I can take him out for, you know, any of the 4.0 million players that we've got on, not Davis, sorry. Any of the other 4.5 million strikers that we have available. Like, it doesn't really bother me. Greenwood, currently the best priced player in the game. Some of the pricing has been a bit strange this year. You know what? I've been really happy with prices and really, really sad with others. Like Ings being 8.5. Now, we all know that I love Ings. I had Ings for a long time. I kept him in when he was blanking. Kept him right through. He'd done me good. The thing with Ings is that like he'd done so good that now he's a product of his own doing. So 8.5 is a lot of money. But he did get nearly 200 points. That's a shit ton. And he's fixture proof. Most of his goals didn't come from, you know, he's not like, I would say, a team basher or anything. Like his goals were just like maybe 1 every 2 games. And that was it. There was no caveat. There was no nothing. It was just like, I'm going to score maybe 1 or 2 games every 2 games, like 1 goal, maybe 2, and that's it. And there's nothing you can do about it. I don't care what the fixtures are. I don't care anything, which is what I really like. Jimenez is kind of the same, but Wolves at the end of the last season just weren't really scoring that much. Jimenez had like 1 shot on target, maybe 2 per game. There was a bit of an issue with probably fatigue like everyone else is, but Jimenez particularly was really, really kind of woeful towards the end, and that's the first time I've seen him really, I guess, dissolve or kind of descend from like that height that we keep him at. So I'm picking Ings. It could change. The point is that he's at a perfect price point that I can go from one or the other, and it's not really a big deal. Or if Mitrovic decides to do a Pukki in the first 4 game weeks, I can also move down to him. It's not a huge deal. The only thing in this team that I would say is that I'm a bit iffy with is the Kane thing. I don't know if I want to keep Kane. I would so like to buy Aguero and have him for 10.5. It's the stupidest pricing I've ever seen. Like, even if Aguero was injured a lot and he's getting on a bit, like, make him 11 million. Like, at 10.5, the reason why they put Ramsdale in there at 5 million was because if they put him in Ramsdale at 4.5 million, then every single person would have him without fail, right? Tell me, anyone in the chat, if Ramsdale was 4.5 million and you're telling me you wouldn't have him. Is there anyone in the chat that wouldn't pick Ramsdale at 4.5? You absolutely fucking would. And if you tell me you're lying. Kane is easily Vardy or Werner, though. Exactly. Like, Kane is a good price point. That's where I'm going with this team. So just like the Ramsdale 4.5 thing, 11 Ramsdales. Exactly. Like, it's just a no-brainer, right? So if I tell you guys that Aguero's going to play 90 minutes for the first 3 game weeks, how many of you, and he scores a bunch and does really well, blah, blah, blah. Classic Aguero. How many of you are going to tell me that you're not going to bring him in if you have Kane or if you have Werner or whoever, right? You could, if you take out Greenwood and upgrade Jimenez or Ings or whatever, you could still probably get him because he's so cheap. 10.5 million for an Aguero. That's mental. Even if he had the same similar season as last year, that's a lot less than he should be. So for me, I was thinking about just getting on him really, really early and just doing the Kane to Aguero thing like as soon as I know he starts. Like as soon as. Even if he doesn't really perform that well. As long as he's starting. So that's kind of the only reason why I want Kane, is because I don't need to think about moving to Aguero. I can just do it. But is that a good enough reason to have someone? Kane's nothing to sniff at. Kane had a great post COVID lockdown restart, whatever you want to call it. He had a great last 8 games or so. Came back from injury. Everyone was saying that he was a DM, including myself. He got fucked for a couple of VAR calls as well. So it's not like he did do good, but could have done better or anything. He actually should have been fucking amazing, but unfortunately, referees still suck. So my aim with this team was to be flexible for game week 2, game week 3, when I want to bring in City players, and I've got Greenwood in there, and potentially take Aubameyang out for Kevin De Bruyne, something like that. Are you not interested in Chelsea players, Dave? Chelsea have absolutely burned me last year in picking players like Zuma, putting Abraham in and then out and then in again, and all the rest of it. I had Mount, I'm pretty sure, was only good for a couple of game weeks. So the problem with Chelsea is that they're like a shit version of City. With City, you bring in Sterling or KDB or Aguero or even Mahrez, right? And whoever starts is probably going to get a couple of points every game. With Chelsea, they share the points just like Man City, but it's every 3 games. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not elite. They finished third, the skin of their teeth. They've got a much better squad this year. They've done some real fucking money hemorrhaging. They've done really, really big things in the transfer. But I just want to see it. Maybe even one game week, like Ings to Werner works really well. I can do that, no problem. Just take Tierney out, or downgrade Saint Maximum or something. Like it's not a huge thing. As soon as Aubameyang turns into KDB or Bruno, like I've only got 0.5 more to find. Ramsdale down or something. Well, actually no, not Ramsdale. We're not doing goalkeeper stuff this year. I forgot. I already nearly fucked my rules up already. How's it going, Daffs? I appreciate that host, my man. So the Chelsea thing, I want to see them. And I feel like if I just tell my brain Chelsea aren't an option, then it just makes this game a little bit easier for me. Like, how many people realistically are going to have them to start? And is he going to even start the season? Like, it took Mapai maybe 3 game weeks to really start. I think he came on in the 3rd game week, and then by the 4th game week he had started, right? How many game weeks is going to take Chelsea to have their new players in? We don't even know if they're going to be starting game week 1. There's a lot of stuff. So that's a rule that you want to go for. No goalkeeper transfers. Absolutely. It's something that you need to aspire to, 100%. I'm starting McCarthy, not taking him out unless on a wild card. Yeah, let's talk about goalkeepers. So I'm going to go into my transfers. I'm going to shout out all the goalkeepers that I've seen on my watch list. And there's not that many, to be honest. There's 4 in here, okay? We've got Pope. So the classic spend. That's the most amount of money that I would probably spend on a goalkeeper's 5.5 this year. I wouldn't do the 6 or anything like that. No Ederson, no nothing, right? Ryan's in there for the cheap. Martinez is in there only if he starts, obviously, for Arsenal. Leno is not worth it at 5 million because I can just have Ramsdale. But if Martinez is starting, then he's going straight in the team. If I get Martinez, I will probably need to get rid of Tierney. It's just not happening. First of all, I already have 3 Arsenal players in my squad. Saliba pending he starts. So that would need to be a bit of a tinker, but I would absolutely rather have Martinez at 4.5 than Tierney at 5.5 because I can always find, like, even what's James's favorite right back again? What's his name? The Spurs player. I could even go for him. So it's not gonna be difficult. Werner will have been with the Chelsea squad for 2 months before the season start. Yeah, exactly. But so did Mapai. They bought Mapai really, like, it's a very similar timeline with Mapai, is what I'm saying. Like, that's what I found when I was doing it. Aurier, that's exactly it. So I could take Tierney out, bring in Aurier or Doherty or whoever, and then get Martinez. I actually could afford that right now if I did that. Martinez and then bring in Doherty. I've got 6 million to spend there, so I could do it. It It could happen. I should actually put Docker in my watch list. He's not there for whatever reason. So the goalkeepers are Pope, Ryan, Ramsdale, and Martinez. You don't need to go ridiculous. People have been shouting things like Spurs keeper. Like, why the fuck? You're doing that because Mourinho? Like, what in Spurs history have they been like, oh yeah, no, we're great at keeping out goals? Like, they're playing dire. If you don't believe me, go listen to Planet FPL's podcast. Any of them. It doesn't matter. As long as they talk about Spurs and like... You can go back. They might have had some really decent 0-0 games, some clean sheets and stuff, but it's just not a good idea. Lurie had the highest points per start out of any game last season. Yeah, so that's the problem. Like, people will look at that stat and they'll go, you know what, fuck yes, right? But he was injured for ages. It's not like he was consistent. It wasn't like Spurs were consistent. They were so inconsistent. The reason why Aurier was a pick was because he was getting a clean sheet or an assist. He's not like a Trent or anything like that. And it's really difficult for me to spend that much money on a goalkeeper hoping that they could turn something that was inconsistent into consistencies. Out of any goalkeeper, you mean that's from 22 games, to be fair. Not awful for him. No, it's not the worst. Like, Tips, you're absolutely right. Like, the stats are pointing to it. I'm just saying, from an eye test, they shouldn't have kept that many clean sheets, and they definitely weren't like rock steady. You could get Ramsdale for 5 million for Sheffield fucking United. That's great. They were so well defensively. They've done so good. So what I'm trying to say is, don't rock the boat and don't go too far out. Like, goalkeepers should be non-punts. Like, the one place we don't punt is our goalkeeper, right? You're going to keep him for longer than probably any other player that is a differential or anything, right? Just Pope, Ryan, Ramsdale, Martinez. I would also say you could go for McCarthy if you wanted to. I don't mind that, because after that 9-0, Hasenhuttl just totally took over that team and made them pretty solid. So I don't mind him. I would just prefer Ryan, that's all. Caveat that with, though, I kind of like Lamptey as well. Lamptey looked really, really good towards the end of the season. So if I end up with Lamptey, then I don't want Ryan. So it's going to be either or case for that. But fingers crossed that Leno doesn't start. Moving on to defenders. The 4.5s that I have been looking at. Taylor, Burnley, obviously. Justin from Leicester, if he can start. Vinagre, which everyone's been talking about. A lot of Sheffield's defensive strength came from Henderson. I feel like a lot of Henderson's a great keeper, 100%, and he saved them so many times. But I think their defense was great, and it's not a case of like, oh yeah, the keeper also needs it, because we have to remember Ramsdale made Bournemouth like look more dignified than they had any right to be. Ramsdale was kicking the shit out of that team, screaming at them all the time. He was their one kind of bright star. It's the same as Dubravka, right? I mean, Ramsdale had one or two mistakes that Henderson wouldn't have done, but it's not so much of a downgrade, right? I really appreciate that signing. I think it's a great signage. Having said that, like, he's not Henderson, and if Henderson ends up playing for Man United, it would be really difficult for me to not have him as well, but I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. Anyway, defense. Vinagre. Good if Wolves don't sign a new left back. Absolutely. 4.5 million for a Wolves defender. It'll be just like old times. And I'm excited for that. But he's not in my team right now. We'll see. Of what I've seen, he's more defensive than Johnny, a bit like Justin. Yeah, but it's the cost, right? Like, we get him for 4.5 million, whereas the other ones have kind of moved up a little bit based on their previous season. Am I correct in that? I'm going to assume. I've already I had a wee look. Yeah, so Johnny's 5.5. Doherty stayed the same at 6, which is fun. Sace was 4 million. Now he's 5 million. Cody, 5 million. Bolly, 5.5. The only ones that you can really get for cheap are Vinagre or Bennett. And I think Bennett's back up to the backup nowadays. So we can't really go anywhere with that. Next up, I've got Tierney, obviously. Tierney, Aurier's in there. Oh yeah, and I've already spoke about Lamptey a bit, but he is in there. I really like the look of him. I just think that he was a decent looking player. He had all the skills. He's probably going to be like a Reece James type player, right? He's just, and I'm pretty sure he came from Chelsea, if I'm not mistaken. FPL tips, our Chelsea man. Did Lamptey come from Chelsea? I think he did. But anyway, so he's going to be that type of player. And Brighton do need something like that. I think that would look really well. So Brighton have a decent history of defence. Lamptey looks like an attacking player. Those are really fun. Those are really fun. Mick Bam, what's happening? Thank you for joining us. Oh no, Daft. I was on Mick's stream a couple of weeks back, and Daft came in and started saying things about Mick's favourite team. That's funny. Anyway, moving on to the midfield. We talked about Salah and Aubameyang. We don't have to go in over our heads with that. Greenwood is in there because I want a little crunch of that Man United apple. There are a bunch of players I would really want, and I feel like, yep, there Daft goes again. Mate, you better be careful. Midfield's going to be the hardest one. Midfield is going to be where everyone wants to get every player, and it's going to be the most difficult thing. So you're not going to be able to have them all. You're just going to have to get over it. So the price point thing really helps out, because I've got Aubameyang, I've got Salah. I can't really get anyone else around there, so I don't really need to look at them. However, Mane's also a good choice. Sterling's in there. De Bruyne, obviously, once City start their games. Bruno, I'm not in any way wanting Rashford now. Now that he's moved up to higher than Son, and he plays just as good as Son, and if it would only cost me 2 million more to get Bruno, it's such a no-brainer. I feel like that's a waste of a price. He's a little bit too high for me, especially since Greenwood will probably match him if they don't buy Sancho and Greenwood starts every game. Can you see a world where Rashford gets more goals than Greenwood? Potentially, if he's doing penalties, that's fine, and they are penalty United, I get that, right? But I feel like they're kind of the same player. Do you know what I mean? Brewster, if he goes to West Brom, yes, he'll be a 4.0 million. I haven't picked any 4 million defenders at all. Aldershot, just simply because I don't know who's starting yet. We'll figure it out. I'm sure I'm going to change one of these 4.5s too. I've got Douglas in there, but just as a caveat, like, oh yeah, don't forget to have a 4.0. So I'm not going to guess. Last year I decided not to guess, and who came out right? Lundstrom, and kicked the shit out of me because I didn't have him. So I'm going to have one of them. But he's just going to be on my bench for a little bit. Brewster's a striker. Oh shit, I thought he was a thingy. Yeah, if Brewster is a striker and he's cheap as chips and he goes in, then I'll fucking have him as well. See, this is the problem when we get a new year. We've got all these new players I'm going to have to learn. How set up are you on this draft? I want to trust my gut feeling more than anything this year. Well, I'm not set on this draft at all. This draft is based on I'm not wildcarding early. That's what this draft is based on. But I would like to do another draft where I've got a wild card game week 2 or game week 4, and we'll see how that goes. Because, you know, there's so many fixture swings in the first game weeks. And we're definitely going to take a look at them in a little bit. He's 4.5 from Liverpool, 6 Premier League, want him on loan. Yeah, well then Davis would come out and Brewster would go in, right? Is that his name? Brewster. Do. Here you go. Just for you, Daft. Spam. Sorted. So here's some midfielders that I've been looking at that are on my watch list. All right, so we've got Mane, De Bruyne, Salah, Aubameyang, Sterling. Mahrez is also in there if he gets more of a shout on that right hand side. Son also. Son has burned me so many times. Oh shit, you can't see. You can't see my team. I mean, I could show you this. How about that? You could see my. Is that better? Does that work better? All right. I've got Son in there as well. Son's burned me so many times in the last couple of seasons. The problem with Son is that you kind of need to keep him. And if I'm gonna have Kane, I don't need Son. And if I don't have Kane, it's because I've moved to Aguero. And if Aguero's coming in, it means that City are banging. In which case, I'll probably want to spend as much money as I can on City players. So I don't have 9 million to spend on Son. So Son's kind of a surplus to requirements a little bit, which is a shame because I do think he's really good. I was talking to FPL Matthew recently, and I mentioned Son as a good price point in between the 11.5s and the 7s, just to like have him sitting there. And he basically said that, yeah, but although he is a good price point, I hate how Mourinho plays him, and I'm probably not going to pick him. And FPL Matthews had 4 top 1k finishes, so I mean he's got some real weight in his in his voice. Grealish is in there as the talisman of Aston Villa. If Aston Villa can get some decent signings and really go for gold this season, then I kind of like him in that kind of Greenwood spot. Fernandes, obviously. Armstrong in there. Shout out to Tips. That would be a St. Maximum swap. Foden also, if he's starting in there, then that would be in place of St. Maximum. We'll find funds from elsewhere. Sevilla, 2-1. If anyone gives a shit. If anyone's watching, go look at your replays. And then the last but not least, I've got the Chelsea guy in there. So if I'm missing anyone from my midfielders, then give me a shout. Let me know. And then strikers, it's really simple. It's Vardy, Ings, Jimenez, Kane, Aguero. I'm not really a fan of anyone else. I know Mitrovic is in there. And I've put Werner in there just to see what's happening. But I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of picking players that I've never watched, that I've never seen in the Premier League. Mitrovic is obviously because he's done it before and he's kind of the cheaper version of Ings and Jimenez. And if he can do what he did last time, then maybe, yeah, 6 million is decent. But I don't know. He would need to have really good fixtures. What's the plan to get United and City assets? All right. Daft has picked the next topic for 500 points. What's the plan to get United and City? James, what are your plans to get United and City assets? If you're sitting there with none, or you might put some on your bench, what are you going to do, James? Thanks, James. I appreciate that. Well, what I'm going to do is I need to decide when I'm going to use my wild card. That's the very first thing. There is a lot to talk about in that, actually, and it's going to be something that everyone's going to have to deal with themselves. So, wildcarding game week 3, when the fixtures change for a lot of players, and we'll look at that in just a wee second. We'll look at that in just a second. Fixture changes game week 3, or maybe a little bit after that, say for example game week 8 or something, when the fixtures change again. Excuse me, when we've got a lot of new information, when everything's kind of settled. Game week 8. It's 2-2. Oh my goodness. Yeah, game week 9, game week 10, that kind of thing. Could be playing them. Or do I save my wild card right up into the very last second and do it like almost like I don't even have a wild card for the first half of the season? Use my wild card at game week 18 because there's going to be a lot of doubles and stuff going on there where Ben Krellin thinks we might have those game week 1 games moved to. So there's a lot of and FPL or FF Scout Joe has also talked about that a little bit, and a few other bits and bobs and a few different Twitter managers. They've all been talking about how we might need to keep our wild card longer. You can only use it until game week 16. It's halfway through, so whatever halfway through is. Or do you mean to say that they're only giving you the first 16 game weeks and then the other ones, it's not halfway? Well, what the fuck then, Richard? They've changed it. Well, then whatever. So you would hold it until game week 16, right? And then you would use it there. The last second that you can use it, you'd use it. And then what happens is you try and plan for those doubles that are about to come in game week 19. That's apparently what it is. And you know what? They probably changed it because of Christmas. Yeah, there we go. FPL tips. Because it's Christmas, but the season starts late. I gotcha. So yeah, so that's the goal. So either I'm going to do number 1, I'm going to wildcard purposefully in game week 3, no questions asked, and I'm going to do all my stuff there, in which case my draft game week 1, game week 2 is going to be very, very reliant on the first 2 game weeks. Second option is to wildcard game week 6 to 8, figure out what I'm doing, navigate, and my team will probably look similar to what it did a second ago, where I've got, 1 Manchester player on the bench. I've got a plan to bring in another one. Kane sitting in there just in case, blah, blah, blah. That's going to be a more difficult option. Or the most difficult option is to kind of set up a team where every player I've got to intricately decide based on his fixtures for the first X amount, and if I need to do any planning and maneuvering, because I'm going to keep my wild card till game week 16. So I'm going to make 3 drafts, and those 3 drafts I'm going to finalize and then figure out by the end of, September 11th, I guess, we're going to figure out what wildcard strategy I'm going for, and it'll be based largely on the drafts that I make. So this draft is option B, which is the wildcard a little bit later into the season, but not, or wildcard game week 8, sorry. This is not a don't use any wildcard. So what I was thinking was, let's just look at the fixtures and let's see what we can do with the first 2 game weeks, because there's some real juicy fixtures in here, guys, if you're going to go wildcard game week 3, and you'd be right ahead of the pack, I think. Is Mitrovic the new Deulofeu? Only if I pick him. No, only if everyone keeps picking him. And I've seen him in a few drafts, but not too many. Deulofeu was... You know who the new Deulofeu is? Fucking Richarlison, right? That's who it is. Like, listen to how... Oh, wow, that's weird, isn't it? That's weird. Can we get rid of that? Can we get rid of that? Let's get rid of... Oh, not that one. Bam. Mitro has it in him, to be fair. No, Mitrovic is not the new Deulofeu. It's Richarlison. And I'll tell you why. So... Deulofeu did well in like 3 games, game week 18 or season 18-19. He did well, where he got like a hat trick against Huddersfield, another brace against Huddersfield, played against Cardiff, did really well, and everyone was like, "Oh, look at his stats through the season; they're really good." And I'm like, "No, they were good for like 3 games. Stop it! Stop picking them! Stop picking them!" And then there was this big, Deulofeu's moved to 6.5 million. Now he's a striker, and everyone's like, "Yes, let's bring fucking Deulofeu in." That's what happened last year, and it was bullshit. I was like, "No, first of all, he only was good 3 games. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it right now." Second one is that I took them all off. I'm gonna have to rewrite them. So Tomosa. And then second of all, Deulofeu's now a striker, so he's gonna get even less points. I've taken all the commands out, my man. I need to redo them. A new season, new me. You know what I'm saying? This year, Richarlison's going to be... Richarlison's going to be that guy, right? Richarlison was an iffy pick for a lot of players. A lot of managers last season that picked Richarlison that did well because they picked him in that perfect pocket. And not many people were able to do that. But he did do well. He did better than Deulofeu in Deulofeu's good season. So I'll give him that. But Everton were just shockingly bad to watch. They were poor to own. They were frustrating. Blah, 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 blah. Now he's a striker. And he's still expensive, and they expect me to fucking put him in my team when there's much better players that have proven themselves and that as well as being a striker. I don't like it. I'm not into it. Yeah, Richarlison gridlocks. I just don't like him. I don't like him at all. I don't like the fact that when players move from midfield to striker, and if everyone starts picking him and I see Richarlison in their squad, I'm gonna flip out. And then he's the new Deulofeu of this season. Yeah, he's absolutely too expensive. He's too everything. Mitrovic will likely give better return for less. 100%. Jimso, football's back when Dave's streaming. Woo! It's happening, Jimso. Hold on. I need to retweet this that we're still live. Because we must be coming up to halftime, right? Gonna be here all fucking season, mate. That's what I'm getting from the stream. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't bring in Richarlison. But yeah, I'm just gonna. This is kind of the halfway point in the stream. Just gonna take time out, drink some water, and say thank you very much for coming and hanging out, guys. I mean, it's like we never left. It's like riding a bike. Yeah. Thoughts on having Greenwood on the bench for Gaming 1? What's your opinion on TAA? Too pricey or nailed? Trent Alexander-Arnold is nailed. Unfortunately, it means that everyone's going to have him. If he does just as well as last season and you don't have him, you're fucked. It's like not having Salah. You're fucked. You're going to be fucked. Fucked. And unfortunately, it means that if you do have him and he does well, your rank's not going to go anywhere and you're going to be like, oh, this is shit. But in actual fact, it's much better than, going back up to 1 million when you were 500,000 because Trent just scored a goal, got an assist, and got a clean sheet. You know what I mean? Like, remember when he got 21 points and I took him out? I'm never doing that again. He is 100% all the way for me. Liam said, what do I think about Greenwood staying in the squad and your bench for game week 1? I like it. I don't mind. I think that if you're planning on navigating through game week 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., and you're not going to be wildcarding, then that's what you're going to have to do. Because you only have, 2 free transfers by game week 3. That's not enough to get KDB, Bruno, potentially Aguero, Werner if you don't have him, Zajcek if he does really well. There's so many players that we're unsure of with a lot of question marks that you're going to need some assurances for having a Manchester United player in. Let's look at these fucking fixtures and we will see what I'm talking about. By the way, I'm going to link it in. Tim Beyer, our savior, has already... I hate that it doesn't do that. You guys are going to have to copy that whole thing. He has already done his 2021 season. It's been 7 days. 7 days. He's so good, and he's already done it. Look at that. Look at that. Special game week. Sorted out all the stuff. We're good. We're golden. Love it. So put that into your folders if you've got them anywhere. Gridlocker, you think Dallas are ailing or worth a punt? I absolutely do. As long as you can keep him on your bench for a wee bit just to make sure, and then you'll have him for when he does do well. Or move him for another 4.5 million defender that's going to do well. You don't really need to jump in and think too much about that shit. Have one of them. Alright, so first 2 game weeks. So this is what we're going to look at. If we were to wildcard game week 3, then we could have Arsenal, full of Arsenal. Leicester have great fixtures. Tottenham away has actually been brought a lot down because of last season, which is hilarious. So Everton are even an option there because of West Brom being so undecided. West Ham, I've got Newcastle, which we're not rating too much in this website, and then Arsenal away, which again they didn't do that well last season. I can understand that. Southampton have a decent opening. Nah, they don't have a decent opening. I don't agree with that. How do we look at that? No, Crystal Palace away is still going to be difficult, especially in the first game week, and then Tottenham not 100%. Newcastle also especially good for West Ham because they concede a lot of headed chances. Yeah, that's something to think about. Good for Antonio, the headed master. So yeah, that's something we could be doing. Newcastle in there and get Antonio up front with, I don't know, whoever Arsenal's striker is going to be. Then Aubameyang in midfield, Tierney in your defence. That could be good. Wolves actually have a really, really bad start. Sheffield United and Man City. So that would be one of the reasons to wildcard game week 3, right? Crystal Palace, there's not really anyone for there. Man City, obviously. Burnley, again, wildcarding game week 3 means you could put Pope in. Means you could get one of their strikers if you're so that way inclined. Like, there's things that you could be doing. Chelsea, not the best start. They've got Brighton, which is fine. Although Brighton isn't a particular big pushover. They didn't do that well last season, but I think they, Burnley had that shit season and they came back to their best. I'm thinking Brighton might be able to do the same too if they can kind of find that form again, that defensive form where Dunk and Duffy were kind of at it all the time, right? And Dunk has just signed his 5-year contract, which means that he's probably not going to be moving to Chelsea, right? So yeah, I'm quite excited about what Brighton can do. So Chelsea's playing Brighton and then Liverpool. So there's another reason why the wildcard in game week 3. Liverpool are playing Chelsea and Leeds. I feel like that's fine. They're fixture proof. It doesn't really matter. By the time we come to game week 3, we'll know what West Brom's all about. We'll be able to see what their starting lineup is. Fulham as well. Burnley defenders at 4.5 are so underpriced. I absolutely agree. Give me a piece of them. So yeah, that's all the good reasons. And there is a decent team we could make. 2 Liverpool players, 3 Arsenal players, Leicester striker, Vardy obviously. Antonio could be in there for your 3 up top. There's so much we can do here. And then moving on to game week 3, let's do that. And this is your wild card. Look at that. So Crystal Palace even become an option there. Defensively, probably. West Brom, we can find out who's good from them. Wolves turn into a pretty decent prospect. They play Liverpool game week 11. Let's bring that back to game week 10. I bet you they go up to the top. Yeah, they do. So Fulham, Leeds, Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Leicester, Southampton, Arsenal. No top 6 teams until game week 10. That's pretty fucking good. That's a good run. Crystal Palace, like I said. Leicester's in there. with a shout still. So if you had Leicester players in from game week 1, you're going to be slamming. You can absolutely keep Vardy and stuff. Would you be open for a -4 for game week 2? I absolutely would be open for them. So if you're not planning on wildcard in game week 3, oh shit, we're on that. Give me 2 seconds. Let's move back. Bam, there we go. Yeah, if you're not looking to wildcard game week 3 like this plan is going, then absolutely doing a mini wildcard is totally valid. If you're going for like a 0 hit thing, then obviously you need to kind of avoid it. But having 3 transfers for game week 3 is a vital thing. If Chelsea, Manchester United, and Man City all start banging, and all you've got is fucking Aubameyang and Salah. What if Mane starts banging? James, what if Mane starts banging? What are you gonna bring? Are you gonna bring Mane in? What are you gonna do? James. He's doing that shy thing. So yeah, there's a bunch of things that you'll need 3 transfers for. So we could potentially get there. Fulham's another one. Mitrovic being brought in for your wildcard game week 3 would absolutely work. Burnley's up there, like we talked about, and so many 4.5s. Just chuck them in. Tottenham, Chelsea's not the best, but I mean, if you're bringing Pope in on your wildcard, then those save points aren't gonna stop. Chelsea is, like we said, if they start banging in, that's perfect. Excuse me again, oh my goodness. Southampton, we've got Ings, we've got Armstrong. I'm sure Redmond, if he starts kicking about. If their defence, Kyle Walker-Peters starts looking good, that's decent. Obviously, Man United fixture proof. We don't care about that. We're probably going to bring a couple of them in. Same with Man City. Man City actually have a really bad start to the season. They're missing a game. They've got Leeds there, which is decent. West Ham away, maybe. I don't know. Sheffield United away is not the greatest. Liverpool, Tottenham, like that's not the best, right? But you're still going to want one of them. So yeah, there's the game week 3 wild card's looking really appealing, guys. It's looking real appealing. And you know what the thing is that last season I planned my wild card and then didn't follow through on that plan, and I eventually only used my wild card when I felt like, oh, you know what, I'm sick of this team. I'm doing shit. My seasons went to shit from the very start. I'm just gonna go for it, and I'm gonna wild card. And that wasn't really good because I didn't have a plan. I'm a fixtures person. I didn't use fixtures. I just went for it. I didn't use a fixture swing. So planning my wild card for game week 3 would be really beneficial for a player like me who uses fixtures a lot. So that's something to think about. What type of player are you? Are you a fixtures? Are you a form? If you're a form player, then maybe wait until the international break, or the second international break's a great idea because it means that you can make your own mind up about who's going to be the best form player to bring in, the flavour of that last couple of months. It's a good idea. I don't think it's something that I'm going to probably do. I think that's my least favourite. I'm either going to wild card almost right away game week 3, or I'm not going to use it at all. I think that's my goals. Those are my 2 options. So that'll dictate my team. But my team right now is definitely a kind of maneuverable, let's see what happens, I'm probably not going to wildcard game week 3 type team. That's what this is. That is what this is built for. So I think that if I do decide to wildcard, then we can make a team. So how about we make a team right now? How about we do that? So we'll have, using the game weeks 0 to 2, Chilwell to Chelsea should be confirmed in the next few days if Leicester don't get a left back in there, starting Thomas. Okay, well, let's put him in because Leicester have got 2 decent fixtures. So let's go find Thomas. So let's take out Salibu and him, and let's go to Leicester teams. I'll take out Kane. I'll take out Ings, Brewster just now. So these are all the players that I don't need if I'm wildcarding. And there. Perfect. All right. Does that work? Are we thinking Ings again? I'm thinking he won't have the same season and is overpriced. The best thing about it is that if he does have the same season, then you've got him in your team. And if he doesn't, he's the exact same price as Jimenez and you can just swap over, right? No more of this like, oh, I've got Ings, I want Jimenez, but he costs, $1 million more. Or you're only a million away from Werner, right? So Ings is a bit more higher, but you can get to almost every other striker in one bound. And actually, he's only 2 million less than the most expensive striker. So it's not like you're going to be, you know, flat out of luck like you would be last year if you had Ings and he wasn't banging, right? It'd be different if you said, oh, is Mitrovic worth it? Do you know what I mean? 0.5 away from Martial if you were so inclined. Martial's another one where like he was out of position, so everyone wanted him, and with good reason too. He was banging them in. But if he has the same season, but he's a striker, I think you could probably do better with, you know, saving the money and getting Aubameyang in, because that's going to be a similar thing, but Aubameyang's getting even more points this season. So yeah, not 100% sold on Martial just yet, and the fact that he's not playing Game Week 1 means I don't even have to think about him. So where were we? We're going to make a team, so let's put Vardy in. Let's get the Leicester team up. Who did you say? Thomas? Thomas might start if Chilwell goes, so we'll put Thomas in. And then a midfielder. I could sit in midfielder, maybe Maddison. We'll hope he bangs. We'll just stick him in and we can take him out if we don't want him. So there's 3 for the first one. If you've just joined us, we are making a Wildcard Game Week 3 team just now. So this would be a Game Week 1 to Game Week 2 only. Punt team, basically. Who do we want in goals for the first 2 games? Let's have a look at this. Arsenal. We don't really know who's starting. Leicester. Oh, we could stick in Schmeichel maybe. Dubravka. Yeah, I think it would need to be one of these 2, right? Because I would rather have an attacker from West Ham, etc. So let's do that then. So who do we bring in then? Schmeichel or Leno? Just now. Schmeichel or Leno? I guess Leno, because he's cheaper, right? That makes more sense. So it means we have to get rid of... Oh, no, we don't, because we only have 2. Perfect. Oh, it's already working out. Fuck yes. Leno. There we go. Double defense for the first 2. And we'll put someone really cheap on for later. I don't know. We'll sit him... We could even sit that in, right? We're going to have a lot of money. Oh, no, I can't do it because of Tierney. All right, fine. Fair enough. Will we see who Arsenal's starting keeper will be from the Community Shield? Yeah, yeah, you're right. We'll see. But what if he plays one and then plays the other? Like, if he plays Martinez, are we all going to be like, oh, is that because Leno's still injured, etc., etc.? I'm not 100% sure. I don't follow Arsenal enough. Let's put Nyland in. Blast from past. All right, so we've got Leicester, we've got Arsenal. Let's put West Ham players in now. Do we want another Liverpool player? Do we have enough money? Nah, probably not, right? I was going to say, like, we could chuck in Robertson or something, but I don't think we do. I don't think we've got enough money to do it. We'll see. Right, how much is Antonio these days? Where are you, West Ham? Antonio, only 6.5. That's not bad, actually. Do we want one of the defenders? No, we'll have a shit defender. We'll do a Justin or something, right? Not Justin, here we go, Ferguson. So we got 9.5. That means we could do a 5.0 and a 4.5 striker. So like that's fine then. Let's put Wickham or whoever the fuck. He's going to be our 3rd guy, so it doesn't matter. And then midfielders, we've got 5 million in the bank. You know who it's got to be, right? It's got to be. Bam. All right. Leno, Tierney, Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Thomas, Ferguson on the bench, Aubameyang, Salah, Maddison. That could obviously be taken out. Souček, St. Maximum sitting there. I don't even know if he needs to be sitting there. What are the fixtures for Newcastle? Aye, not bad. Don't mind him sitting there at all. Antonio Vardy up front. So it would be this would be the team to start. I think I'd pick Souček over. Oh no, actually I'd probably do that, right? Souček first on the bench. That's not bad. That's not a bad team. Not a bad team at all. Aubameyang is a fucking midfielder now. What the actual... Where have you been, mate? Where have you been? Yeah, he got moved. He got moved. I was very pleasantly surprised. But there we go. That's how it works. So, because he's a midfielder now, it means that we can have a pretty decent game week 1 and 2 team. 3 Liverpool players, 3 Arsenal players, 3 Leicester players, 2 West Ham players, and then the rest is just meh, right? So I think that would roughly be where my team is. I'd probably maybe play around with the Maddison pick. But yeah, basically that would be where we are. And then game week 2, I might be able to take Maddison out for, you know, a whoever, or I'd probably keep it. I wouldn't want to waste a transfer for my wild card, so I might do something. I might do a little something, but nothing too over the top. And then game week 3, I can take out whoever I want. I could take out Tierney if he's not been doing well. I could put in Doherty instead. Aubameyang goes for KDB. Bring in the Man United players. Move Vardy out if he's not been banging or Leicester didn't see him on the boil. Antonio to Mitrovic or whatever. There's so much stuff you can then do because you've got your wild card, right? Antonio XG and XA is over 1.0 since lockdown. Fixtures are bad though. What do we think of him? Well, Antonio is going to be great if you guys want to wildcard game week 3. If you're going to keep him, let's see what West Ham's fixtures are for, let's say, 6 game weeks. If you're not going to do that. Nah, see, they go right down, right? That is shocking. Wolves, Leicester, Tottenham. Gridloxa, oh my goodness. Thank you so much for the sub, man. That tier 1 sub. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. That wasn't even Twitch Prime. That was your actual money. You didn't need to do that. It was your actual money. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So this is a wild card team. Yeah, West Ham is not going to be. You're in here for the long haul. I appreciate that. The long term. Same, mate. We're going to be doing this every week. Yeah, I don't think West Ham's a good pick if you're not wild carding. You couldn't even keep him for like 4 games. Like that's shocking. That's really bad. That was bad. That's rubbish. Game week 8 though. Let's see that. Game week 8 onwards. Sheffield United, Aston Villa, Leeds, Crystal Palace, Brighton. Yeah, that's much better, right? That's much better. So yeah, here is our game week 2 wildcard team. Oh no, I've closed them all. I forgot I was Xing them all out to show you guys what I was doing. But you get the picture, right? There's three Leicester, three West Ham, or 2 West Ham, 3 Arsenal players, 3 Liverpool players, St. Maximum, Maddison potentially, and there you go. So the next thing we would need to be doing, and what I'll do next stream, is which is going to take a little bit more tinkering behind the scenes, is what we'll do is we'll make an actual no wildcard team. What do you do if you're not wildcarding? And we'll go into what we're going to do when we've got players on the bench, who we plan on bringing in, when are we doing it, are we going to get rid of Aubameyang right away, game week 2, for all the rest of it, etc, etc, etc. You might convince me to wildcard early again. I wildcarded game week 2 last season because I didn't know what I was doing and I copied until Christmas. I coped till Christmas. Then I had to play my free hit because I was in a hole in my second wildcard instantly. I plan to break 100k this season, so I need to concentrate. Yeah, so Daph's the thing about it is that this season, even if you wildcard early again, you'll know 100% more than you did last time. You're going to know so much. You're going to know what you're doing. So when it comes to Christmas, you're thinking, oh shit, I was in a hole last season. But you won't be in a hole this season, right? You definitely won't be in the hole next season. So I think that it'd be okay to wildcard early, right? Why not? You're going to be planning so much better. You're going to be knowing what you're doing so much better. You were doing really, really well for the first couple of weeks, I remember. Are you planning on setting up a league, Dave? Yes. I'm going to do it right now, live. Create and join new leagues. Create a league. Classic league. Maximum characters. What should we call it? Yeah, firing blanks. Game week 1. Firing blanks. Create league. Let's get the code. Bam. TM3AUE. Go, go, go. So just like last season, me and James are going to create a put your money where your mouth is team. So once I'm set up with my Game Week 1 squad and he's set up with his Game Week 1 squad, we're going to create a squad together of purely differential players, people that aren't really being talked about, players that people don't have in their squads. And we're going to keep that, see how well it does. If players don't do well, if they blank, I think it's 4 times in a row, then we have to transfer them out. And every transfer costs a $5. And the money at the end of the season goes to the winner of the Firing Blanks League. So there's no prize pool yet, but potentially, if we're not very good at our differential put your money where your mouth is squad, then there could be a lot of cash by the end of the season. So it's just a bit of fun. Obviously, it's not like it's not a cash money league. We're not breaking any rules or anything. It's just a case of like that. And if anyone has a problem with it, we could just put the money to the charity of their choice. So it's not a huge thing. It's just a bit of fun. It makes the game for the put your money where your mouth is a bit more serious when we've got money that we need to do. So that's what that is. Isn't that right, James? And who's funding that, James? Who's going to be putting all that $5, all those transfer monies in? You. It's going to be you. You're bankrolling it. Awesome. I appreciate that, James. So yeah, so sign up to that. The code's at Gridlock's already in. So join the league, and I'll tweet that out and stuff. Absolutely. So I've got a few announcements, a few things that we've been working on behind the scenes. So this year, like I said, we're going to be doing the who put your money where your mouth is. We're going to be streaming. We're going to be podding under the Firing Blank stuff, just like this one. Obviously, we're going to be putting all the stuff on YouTube, so if you miss it, you can go on there and you can have a wee look. Obviously, I appreciate any subs and stuff. You guys absolutely do not have to do that. We don't have a Patreon or anything like that. There's nothing like that. We just do this because I love doing it. I get all my money from my main job. This is just for fun, so you don't have to do that. But I appreciate anyone who's following or Twitch subbing or using their primes or anything like that. Like I really appreciate all the feedback and all the love. I'm gonna be on FPL Tips stream on Tuesday, and he's going to be asking me a bunch of questions. I'm going to be answering a bunch of questions. It's going to be a great time. We're just going to have a laugh. I'm going to enjoy not being a host for once, because even when we stream for the Fantasy Weekly podcast, I am still hosting the stream. It's going to be fun to actually kick back and not have to do much. So there's going to be a lot more hilarity from me. Twitch Tips is a nice guy. You go follow him on subscribe to his channel. Tips, do you want to post, if you're still here, you can post your YouTube channel, my man, so people can know where to find you. That's where he does. Dave, you are a legend. Thank you. Just followed FPL Tips. Perfect. Go follow him. He needs all the followers he can get. I think he's only on 11,000, so yeah, he needs a lot more. Find his YouTube channel. I'm going to be there next Tuesday, or this Tuesday coming. And the last thing, the super, super secret thing that I haven't told anyone about yet is, do I want to really reveal that now? I'll give you a little tidbit. I'll let you know. I'll tease it. Me and James have decided to get a bunch of our FPL friends together. Dab says you have to reveal it now. Me and James have decided to pool our friends, FPL friends, all together, and we're going to be doing a mini-series, a pre-season mini-series, and we're going to be releasing one pod a day, every day in September, with a new guest. Now, I'm not going to tell you who the guests are. I'll let you guys just imagine. but it's all going to be under the guise of the rules that we set out, the strategies that we play the game with. So that's what we're going to be doing. I've today recorded 3 pods today. So Daff says Ben Dinnery with a laugh. Yeah, no, I didn't ask Ben because his strategy is, I don't know, man. I can't even do his accent. I don't know. I just, 5 minutes before the game. That's how all English people talk in my head. 5 minutes before the game, he'll just do all his transfers. So there's not really anything to talk about. There we go. But yeah, so 1 pod per day in September. That's all I'm saying. That's what we're aiming for. He's got a blue tick though. Definitely does. So thanks. I think this has been a pretty successful stream. Where numbers are low, obviously there's a fucking final going on. Forgot about that. But for everyone who's been here, this has been a great little dip back into the water as such. I really enjoyed it. Next time we're going to be going into a bit more detail. I'm going to have a look at all of the players that, we've been talking about, 4.5, 5.0s, the 4.0s. Defenders, we're going to figure out them, and I'm going to build a non-wildcard team, a team that has nothing to do with we're not even going to look at wildcards. Game week 16 wildcard team. That's what we're going to be doing next. How and why does he have a blue tick? Because he is sexy. Thank you very much, everyone. If you are new here, follow the Twitch, turn your notifications on so you get a wee email, so you don't have to always be on your Twitter watching for when I'm going live. There's a little bell thing underneath my screen. You click that and it'll email you. And yeah, I'll speak to you next time. I'm gonna go and watch the rest of the game. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys coming. I'll speak to you later. And maybe James will be a bit less talkative next time, because he fucking just all the time. He's just sitting there fucking shut the fuck up, mate. Bye.